What is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back for another OPTC video, and in today's video we're diving into the 10-star KIZUNA clash against SANJI and Judge with two teams for each variation, one being the non-level 31 plus, bit of just an easier team for you guys to build and sort of put together to take down this particular quest if maybe you're a new player or a non-established box player. We're not using any supports, no crazy shenanigans, just raw, whatever the unit is, whatever the unit does, that's what we're going to be using. And then the second team is just going to be like a bigger damage, level 31 plus sort of team. But these teams don't use the Germa kids, and they don't use your own or a friend captain Reiju. That is the big catch here. A lot of people will probably struggle to find Reiju friend captains, so hopefully this team will help you out. I did put together a preparation guide video. I'll try and leave a card at the top of the video for that, as well as a link in the description for you. But if you enjoy the video, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. With that said, let's dive in to the 10-star KIZUNA clash. Alright, so we're going to start off at Dex, and the team that doesn't use any supports up to level 30 looks a little bit like this. I did decide to bring a Sweet 3 friend captain. I basically just chose them as they are different to our captain, and it gives you a little bit more variety when it comes to team building, because if you guys don't have Kaido, you can bring Sweet 3 and then bring a friend captain Kaido. Or if you guys have Kaido, you can bring Sweet 3. Sweet 3's been around for quite a while. I feel like a lot of people probably picked them up in tickets and whatnot. So you can also use your own as a friend captain too if you guys do have Kaido. But this team will function fairly nicely if you just want to run double Kaido and you just don't even worry about it. You can use a support for color affinity like Judge or Kuma on any of your powerhouse or strength characters. So that's going to work absolutely fine. But nevertheless, Sweet 3 are literally just here purely for that color affinity buff. On stage 2, we come up against Yonji, and for this particular fight, we are going to utilize the Kid Law special. That's going to give us 3 turns of a chain boundary. Then we can activate our Queen special. That's going to remove the defense up as well as lock our orbs. And then with that, we can actually use the Kaido special. Kaido is going to give Wano to the top and bottom, top middle row, and then 10 to the bottom. And because those orbs are now locked, we're going to keep them to the final stage. However, the final stage does have, what's it called? It does have block orbs. So if you guys want to guarantee a tandem orb, just put Jack down the bottom. And then that way you can actually put the King support on Jack. That's going to give you a guaranteed matching orb. Tandem orb, I should say. So that way you can get the super tandem with Kaido as well. But like I said, this team I didn't want to use like supports or anything like that. But Who's Who, the treasure map character, is very good here. He rotates those block orbs. He gives you an attack boost. He gives you 1 turn of special cooldown, which is awesome because our captain is strength. He also triggers Kaido's super tandem as well if you have him at like level 3 or higher. We then have Jack to remove the paralysis and the threshold. Sweet 3 are going to give us color affinity, and then Kaido gives us an orb buff, as well as allowing us to get a super tandem. Like I said, though, you will need a tandem orb for that to actually work, so probably have Jack with the King support from that batch on him to guarantee that tandem orb. But there you guys go. Nice and simple. Let's move on to the big damage team now, which looks a little bit like this. And this team is very similar to the one that you guys just saw, in the sense that we are using Kaido as our captain. But if you guys have the waifus, they actually work better as your captain because you can actually utilize the Brûlé support. Utilizing the Brûlé support on the waifus allows you to use them as the cooldown reducer, and that way you get a higher conditional boost with Kaido rather than utilizing the conditional of Yamato and Ace. But nevertheless, both work, so if you guys don't have waifus and have Kaido, you can run this build. But like I said, you can run this a little bit better if you guys have your own waifu units. On stage 2, we're going to use Queen once again. Queen is going to clean up the defense up, and then he's going to lock the orbs, and then Kaido can activate his super class, so that way you guys can give yourself some Wano slots and just make this particular stage very easy to kill. You will lose the base stats that Queen has, well, Queen can apply, but look, it's not the end of the world because it's quite a low base stat boost anyway, and we really just want to make sure that we can lock those Wano orbs and remove that defense up. On the final stage, we are going to basically just use everyone's specials and get around what we need to get around. You get block orbs here, and then there's 6 turns of paralysis and threshold. To get around the paralysis, we have the support of Rayleigh on our Luffy Whitebeard, and then you use the Jack special to clean up the rest. To get around the threshold on this team, we have a combination of Jack and then Luffy and Whitebeard as well. Luffy and Whitebeard are great because they rotate the block orbs into tandem, which means that you can get the super tandem ability of Kaido as well. We have an orb boost with Kaido. We have color affinity with the waifus. We have a super type. We have a super class. We have a lot of strikers on this team as well. Everyone is actually striker, which means everyone hits it very, very hard. But you do have to tap in the order of Queen, Jack, and then Kaido, or Yamato and Ace, however you guys want to do it. You also have a final tap of Yamato and Ace or the waifus as well. So like, this team does absolute bits, man. It does really, really well. And Kaido is showing why if you come up against a Dex boss in KIZUNA, he works exceptionally well. On to the next variation. Alright, so on to Quick now, and the team that doesn't use any supports looks a little bit like this. Now, again, I decided to bring Yamato and Ace as my friend captain, just to give you guys a little bit of variety. If you don't have Luffy Yamato, you have another option to bring as your captain. And then you can bring a friend captain, Luffy Yamato. Now, I did have Garp on this team initially, however, there is Grey Shield, so Garp literally does nothing. Like, he actually doesn't help you at all, which is a bit of a shame. I would probably replace Garp with maybe a character that can poison, if you are running this build. Or just scrap Luffy Yamato completely, and then just bring anyone else over Garp and just run double Luffy Yamato. But on stage 2, you get Paralysis Orbs and an attack down if you blow a 3x Chainlock. Utilizing Sabo here is just so good, because Sabo can just get around literally all of that. He's a free-to-play character. You can pick him up in the treasure map shop. Make sure to go get him if you guys are missing him. Otherwise, you can use Kizaru, Rare Recruit Kizaru, if you guys don't have this Sabo and you don't have the blue tickets to spare. You can use the Rare Recruit Sabo. Now, I actually used the Nami and Robin special here because I don't need it. But after level 30, you do get paralyzed. So if you did want to try this team after level 30, you do want to hang on to that special. But because I'm using a Yamato and Ace friend captain, that's not going to be necessary at all. What I would do there is actually super swap with Ace Yamato and then use the Ace Yamato special, because you don't want to get the burn on this particular stage against Judge and Sanji. And the reason that is because this unit actually has a revive, comes back with 25% of its HP, and then if you get them below a certain HP threshold, they put up damage nullification, and if you actually burn the enemy, which we do with Yamato and Ace, you're actually going to be in for a pretty bad time. Now, this run is still successful. However, the HP scales a lot faster than the attack of the unit. So just be mindful of that. And that burn is not going to scale as nicely as what you guys are seeing here. But the idea for me was to just use the Garp special on the revive. But there is the Grey Shield there. So you actually just can't do that. Ideally, you want to stay as Sanji as captain too, by the way, so you don't have to worry about that captain swap. As you guys can see, the burn does quite a lot of damage. And then because you get to such a low threshold, then you see the damage nullification. But the damage null shouldn't exist if you don't actually apply the burn. So just be mindful of that too. You still have an attack boost. You still have an ore boost thanks to the Yamato, Luffy, and Yamato and Ace. So you will have enough damage to kill here regardless. So, yeah, like I said, you're going to be fine. But just don't use burn, basically. Just don't use the burn. Use it on the previous turn, and then just use the attack boost that Nami and Robin can give you, provided you actually have your Nami Robin at level 150. And then, like, that's after level 30 anyway. But on to the next team. The next team utilizes Yamato versus Yamato, that is our captain, with a friend captain, Luffy Yamato. So that's the team, those are the supports. Let's dive in. Now, this team does bits. Like, this team does so much goddamn damage. And the monster trio of Luffy Yamato with Sanji and Zoro, if you have Sanji's Rush maxed and Zoro's Super Tender max, and then you add, like, Robin into the mix, and then the damage reduction buff that, like, Verse Yamato can give, you are just absolutely cooking. Like, you're cooking with gas when it comes to this particular team. You have so much damage output, and you can just do so much with these units that damage is not a problem, and getting around actual effects is so easy. To get around Despair, we have Verse Yamato, but, like, you could use the super swap of Yamato and Luffy anyway. And Luffy Yamato have type advantage on stage 2 as well. So this team it works so damn nicely that you can even keep a Wano slot on Zoro to the final fight. It's not going to matter though, as long as Zoro's on the left hand side. It is what it is. But once you get to this final stage, you just see how much damage output you guys actually have. We have the VV support as well for resistance down. We have the Queen support as well for more resistance. And this team literally has everything. The only thing that I don't have on the team is Chain Multiplicative. And you could easily use Brook on Sanji. However, you do have to get around Paralysis. So to do that, we do need some supports on stuff like Robin and Sanji and what's his name, and Sabo as well. And it does take some particular special usage. Now, as you guys can see there, I kind of like reloaded the game. Well, I kind of like phased across. You do want to use the Sanji special first and end with the Robin special, not use the Robin special first, as that way you'll get the chain boost from what's it called? You get the chain boost from Mr. 1. Ideally, you also want to stay as Sanji in your captain, so that way you don't have to worry about the captain swap on the revive. But we get around the paralysis, like I said, thanks to the supports. We remove the despair, thanks to Yamato. And then to deal with the revive, it's just so easy because we have 2 turns of an attack boost. We have 2 turns of an orb boost. We have chain boundary, chain boost. Like, you just have so much on this team. You can also save Sanji's chain boost as well for the revive once that gets crazy. But like, this team's just gonna last forever. We don't even remove the burn because it doesn't matter. Like Sanji, like literally Sanji's first hit just absolutely decimated. Like it was disgusting, actually disgusting. We have 2 conditionals here too. We have 2 times extra damage. Like, it just goes absolutely berserk. Plus we have rush, we have super tendon, we have final tap. It isn't fair for Jumanji on this fight. It's just not fair at all. But that's the huge mungus Wongo damage team versus Quick. Let's move on to Int now, the final variation. Alright, so versus Int, we're utilizing a combination of Momo and Gear 5 Luffy. This particular fight is basically made for them, and I do think a lot of people are going to struggle with this one if you guys don't have them. But if you have Luffy, bring a friend Captain Momo, and if you have Momo, bring a friend Captain Luffy, and that's going to work out nicely. Having them both as your captains just works exceptionally well, because utilizing Luffy's revive is super handy, as well as utilizing Momo's end of turn damage and his super type on stage 2 is actually very, very handy as well. On top of that, Momo will activate his special on turn 1, which allows you to get an attack boost to carry your way through. If you tap with that Wano orb that he has, he then extends that attack boost, and then you can use his super type on stage 2 to just rotate those Wano, the block orbs into Wano. That way you don't actually have to remove the special bind, and you can save that chopper special for the final stage. Ivankov and Bon Clay also have the Sailor ability that can just remove special bind on themselves, which is actually like really handy here because we want them to remove the despair. Now, if you guys want this team to work past level 30, you are going to need some despair supports like Rayleigh on Luffy. But for now, the Ivankov special is going to suffice. We have access to a revive here, but the Ivankov special not only is going to remove the despair, but it actually also rotates the poison orbs. Utilizing their special, that gives you end of turn healing, which will actually trigger the interrupt of Jumanji. They're going to do 200,000 damage, which basically just kills you, allows Luffy to get his revive, and that's why having him as a captain just works so nicely. Then we can use the Chopper special to give us, or remove the special bind, but also give us resistance down for Psy characters. You can't use healing on this stage, but you also can't use end of turn damage, so that's why having Momo is incredibly powerful. We can use the Luffy EX special to make those Psy orbs hit very, very hard. We can then use his special to get a color affinity and an orb buff. We also remove 1 turn of everything, but that really doesn't matter. Then we have the Nami special here. Nami can actually give us a base stat boost and a chain boost. And then we have Sanji, the rare recruit Sanji, to give us a chain boundary. You can also use Wano Law there as well. That's definitely going to work. And as you guys can see, like, it's so much damage. Like, it's so much damage. You guys are going to be absolutely fine when it comes to this fight if you guys are using the combination of Luffy and Momo. Onto a bigger damage team now. That utilizes Nami and Gear 5. So that is the team. Those are the supports. Let's dive in. Now, this team does require you to have Momo as a sub. Instead of a friend captain. We are using Nami so that way we get access to her crazy shenanigans of her guaranteed conditional boost, as well as then using Robin for a double conditional. Now with this team, we do need to remove the special bind on stage 2, and it is subject to change with level 30 plus. Once you hit level 31, you get an extra turn of despair. However, when you die with Luffy, it technically takes a turn to revive. So I'm under the impression that that 1 turn will remove 1 turn of despair. However, if it doesn't, this particular team might not work. But on stage 2, we are going to utilize the swap of Sanji and Nami. They're going to remove the special one with their special. And then with the Hachan support, we can rotate some of those block orbs. We're then going to use the Momo special on this turn. That's going to give us 4 turns of an attack boost and 10 turns of an end of turn damage, which allows us to get through that resilience on the final stage. Once we do get into that final stage, you can also switch with Frankie Tanky here to get a color affinity boost as well. But look, it's really not essential. Robin hits hard enough, so it's fine. But on the final stage, what we're going to do here is with the Brûlé support, you get 1 turn of cooldown, because after level 31, you actually get 1 turn of special reverse. So Frankie Tanky can actually get around that with the Brûlé support, because there's technically Chopper. The Despair will go down to 6 turns, but then with our supports, we can bring it down to 1 turn after level 31. You should still have 1 turn. And then the idea here is to utilize the Frankie Tanky special to rotate the block orbs and stuff like the poison orbs and stuff like that. And then when you die, you come back and then you lose that extra turn. As you can see, Nami and Sanji are no longer in their dual form, and this leads me to believe that it will remove the Despair. However, you don't lose an extra turn of the orb boost from Frankie. So I'm not 100% sure if this will exactly work, but if it doesn't work, you can easily just put a replacement for Robin to remove some more Despair there. That should definitely work. Or you can actually use the Opera support on Robin, so then that way you can get some more Despair removal that way instead of the Morley support. I do believe that should work. The thing is though, you have to use the Frankie Tank special. Look, hopefully it'll work. Hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't, we'll have to go back to the drawing board, maybe replace Robin, and the team won't do as much damage. But that's going to wrap up the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there, belt like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff for me. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Let's